What is real and what is the imagination? Where does one begin and the other end? This is a question that, as we go further and further into this analysis of the tarot, will continue to highlight our path, as the distinction between where your internal world ends and the external world begins is not as clear as we would like to think. In the book, The Holographic Universe, Michael Talbot explains how science has come closer and closer to confirming this is true. In his book, he explores the theories of David Bohm, who argues that reality has two distinct levels to it. There is the explicit reality, which is what it is that we see in front of us, that we can reach out and touch, yet it is temporary and it is always passing and in a constant flux of change. Then there is the implicit order of reality, and this is a more fundamental reality where everything is constant, or the way that David Bohm would put it, everything exists enfolded into everything else on a quantum level. Bohm came to this conclusion after meditating on the unusual characteristics of quantum physics. From the Copenhagen interpretation of quantum physics, everything is probabilistic. A particle's location is only measurable when it is observed. This is mind-boggling to imagine, of course. And so Bohm concluded that there must be some sort of underlying structure that is hidden beneath what it is that we observe. This implicit layer of reality has the even stranger quality of having everything in existence enfolded within it. David uses an example of a hologram to convey this idea. Since if you take a holographic plate and you cut a holographic plate into 4 pieces, you don't get one broken hologram. You instead get 4 individual complete holograms. So the universe is fundamentally fractal. There are deeper and deeper and deeper layers to every element of the universe. And we'll see in the tarot, this is actually reflected in the structure of the tarot itself. David Bohm goes on to continue to explore this idea by highlighting the self-similarities that we see of the design of the universe at all levels of scale. If you consider for a moment the way it is that an electron rotates around a nucleus, or the way a planet revolves around a star, or the way that a hurricane looks, and the way it is that a galaxy looks. There is a self-similarity at every level. Very similar structures are being built on top of one another at different levels of scale. The Hermeticists understood these observations it is that David Bohm was saying and categorized them under the first 2 laws of Hermeticism. The first one being all is mental. Everything it is that is existence is made from consciousness. It is all consciousness. The second one being the law of correspondence. The macrocosm of the universe and the microcosm of the universe are direct reflections of one another in terms of their structure, or as Hermeticists would say, as above, so below, as within, so without. The macrocosm and the microcosm of the universe has always been explored in the occult sciences. There are 4 major occult sciences that form the bedrock of Western esotericism that explore this connection between the macrocosm and the microcosm. We know them as astrology, which focuses on the macrocosm, which is the celestial body's movements, and its influence on the microcosm, which is the human being, which is represented by the tarot. The other two elements, alchemy and the Kabbalah, are also contained within the tarot, and we'll be exploring the symbolism within the Rider-Waite deck that references all four of these different occult sciences. My understanding of the occult sciences mostly focuses on the tarot, because the tarot is a very strong confirmation of the free will that the individual has. Whereas I believe a lot of people that follow astrology very closely can sometimes get the idea that the astrology is what it is that matters, which it is not. Even an astrological influence that we may have on our lives, at the end of the day, our lives are created by our own free will decisions, not by outside forces that are governing our lives. So, in the occult sciences, you have the macrocosm of astrology, and then you have the microcosm of the tarot. But even within the tarot, we also see this law of correspondence, this as above, so below. As within, so without. The tarot cards themselves are structured under the same law of the law of correspondence. The law of correspondence is represented by the way that the tarot cards are divided. Within the tarot card deck, there are 78 cards in the tarot. And they are divided into two major groups, and then there are subsections within those groups that we will explore today. The first grouping is between the Major Arcana and the Minor Arcana. If we likened the tarot cards to the analogy of storytelling, we would say that the Major Arcana is like the big moments in a story. They're the big things that happen in a film or in a book. Whereas the Minor Arcana are kind of like the moment-by-moment steps that happen that get us from point A to point B. The Major Arcana consists of 22 cards, with the remaining 56 cards being divided between 4 different suits for the Minor Arcana. So we have again this reflection between the Major Arcana, which is the macrocosm, the big things that happen in our lives. You can think of these as the immutable laws that everybody has to govern their lives by and that affect everybody. We have cards like justice, we have cards like death, we have cards like judgment, we have cards like the Lovers or the Devil. These are big energies that nobody can avoid in their life. Then we have the microcosm of the Major Arcana, which is the remaining 56 cards. Similar to these playing cards, you have 4 different suits for the Minor Arcana. With 14 cards in each one of these suits, we'll be exploring these much later after we get done with the Minor Arcana. But they all represent something very critical to understanding the microcosm of the human being. These represent pentacles, which represent the densest energy in the tarot. It represents the earth energy. And this refers to resources. And you will see in the visual metaphors, you'll see the metaphor of harvesting. So this has to do with any kind of physical resource it is that is needed in order to grant some sort of a manifestation. Then there is the swords, which represents the cutting, discernment-like quality of thinking. This is represented by the element of air. Then we have the elements of cups. Cups represents the emotional body, the stability or the instability it is that one has within their emotional framework, within their nervous system. Then this is represented by water. Then there is finally the wands, which represents passions, the dreams, the goals, the things it is that you want to do in this world. And that is representative of action, and it is represented by fire. So these are the 4 different elements it is that every human being has within themselves. This is the microcosm that exists in every human being. And it is only by taking all 4 elements of these aspects of the human being and taking them and aiming them in any specific direction that we are actually able to bring about a manifestation. So the overall goal of understanding the tarot is to understand that the tarot is essentially a book that tells our story as human beings. It tells the story about the microcosm, the internal world of us, and how it relates to the world that affects us, which is everything it is that we cannot avoid, the immutable laws of the universe, and the evolutionary stages of the human being, and how those things relate to one another. Specifically when it comes to manifesting something. If you are somebody who wants to manifest something, then you must have complete control over these 4 different elements of what it is that is internally going on within you. Without understanding these 4 different elements and how to govern them in relation to the macrocosm, then you really can't actually manifest anything. And if you pay close attention to a lot of people that teach manifestation and things like that online, you can begin to see the schism between really understanding something and just somebody who's a scam artist trying to sell you something. For example, how many of us have heard that, all you need to do is just believe. All you need to do is just believe, right? We see this with religion. Religion is a perfect example of this. Religious people will sometimes get this idea, this very mistaken idea in their head, as well as New Age thinkers will get this idea mistakenly in their head, that all it is that they need to do is just believe, just basically wish for something to happen. This is not the case when it comes to manifestation. Faith is an important element to the process of manifestation. You have a dream, you want to be a filmmaker, a musician, you want to do something great with your life. There is a great deal of faith that is required, but just as much as there is faith, there is also action that is required. There is also internal understanding of your emotional body and your thinking body, that if you do not understand those things, then no amount of work is going to make up for your emotional body being unstable. If your emotional body is unstable and yet you're doing lots of action, then you will not get the kind of fruits it is that you actually want to harvest. So the inner work of the tarot is being able to find what is it that is blocking the manifestation in your energy, and being able to hone in on that, come to an understanding of it, and by coming to an understanding of it, you know what actions actually need to be taken. So it's a great aid for anybody who is trying to do something with their life. This gives you a very clear idea of what it is that's happening energetically in your life. It's not about reading some future. And like I mentioned before, I'm not interested in really even telling somebody the divination aspect of the tarot, because ultimately somebody telling you what's going to happen in the future is not really what the tarot is about. The tarot is instead about your internal working and how it corresponds with the world. So the tarot is very much like a mandala. It is something that within itself is a work of art. And just like a mandala that you see being made in Tibet, or like you see in Hindu cultures, or in any of these Eastern traditions, every single element has to be understood as being a part of the whole. So as we go through and we dissect the tarot cards themselves, we will be doing them in pairs of 2 for the Major Arcana. And then we'll be looking at the entire suits for the minor arcana as individual stories of pentacles, swords, cups, and wands. As I'm going to go ahead and close this video out since it's getting a little bit long. So for now, if you like this video and you want to see more content like this, go ahead and give me a like, leave me a comment, let me know what you think, let me know what it is that stands out to you about the tarot cards and their meaning. If you're interested, I do a lot of very esoteric art that is very similar to tarot cards, and I'm going to be doing illustrations that are very similar to tarot on my art shop called Parabola Visions, which you can check out in the link in the description below. I also want to thank my supporters over on Patreon. You guys are the ones that support me in doing my videos. If you're interested in checking out my Patreon, I'm going to be putting up videos exclusively as well as just like early access stuff over there on Patreon for the tarot and other video series. Right now you can check out my Blade Runner series over on Patreon. And yeah, guys, if you enjoyed this, let me know. And thank you so much for watching, and take care.